This is Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell on the Forge Audio Network.
Forge fans, welcome back to another episode. Today is September 7th, 2023. I'm your host, Mackenzie Barwell, here to give you all things Forge FC. Just one day now between today and Forge's matchup against Cavalry, which also means one more day remaining until the Spark Summit, so it'll be a very eventful Saturday here at Tim Hortons Field. In today's episode, we will take a look into what to expect from Cavalry, and then hear some insight from the CPL newsroom. But first, I wanted to include a short debrief of what went down last night. As I mentioned on Tuesday, Forge FC hosted their first all-girls skills clinic, and it was a massive success. G, Seba, Noah, Kadeem, Benny, Mandrakar James all came out to facilitate some drills for almost 100 girls that came out to play. And for the majority of the clinic, it was a rotation style. So each player had their own drills going, and then each drill had a group. It was just really cool to see. I had to go down to check it out, and funny to see some of the different coaching styles, actually. I'll have to commend Noah Jensen, actually, at some point for the way that he coached, because every time before the drill started, he would make each player introduce themselves to each other. So interesting strategy, but he had it down to a science. So an honorable mention goes to Noah Jensen for really encouraging the chemistry aspect of the game. Anyways, I had to come see for myself. As I said, it was truly, truly incredible to see. As somebody who was in their position at one point, I would have loved to do something like that. So I know it went a long way for them. We were super lucky with the weather. The turnout was great. And I had to check in with our manager of community partnerships, Shannon Connolly, to get her take on the whole event. Okay, this looks like a success so far.
It really is. We have about close to 100 girl soccer players at Tim Hortons Field tonight. Working with
Swift in the background.
Yeah, it's for the girls today, absolutely.
Girls.
But we did have to bring a few boys, so the Forge players are here running the drills, and we're just really excited. This is our first ever all-girls camp.
I think I'm going to go ask Noah to sing as he coaches.
Yeah, I heard that he's been warming up the pipes all day, so I feel like he's ready for Taylor Swift.
I'm going to play this for him. Okay, can you walk us through what's happening right now? You said that there potentially might be a player versus girls match.
So first we're gonna work on some soccer fundamentals. Obviously these guys are the best in the area, the best in the business, and so brought the girls out to really learn from the players. So we've got shooting drills, some technical passing drills, beating some players, and then obviously some mini games. And then I heard the boys wanted to challenge them to little girls versus
Rumor
boys,
on the street. Yeah.
Little 100 versus 5. But if they're as good as they say they are,
then they should be
able to handle it. Absolutely.
Now seeing this kind of come to light and seeing how well it was executed, why do you think it's so important to have events like these ones?
Oh man,
where do we start?
I know I could unpack this forever, but obviously Forge FC represents the highest level of soccer in this country, and the existence of this league has created a really clear pathway for a lot of boys players, but there's so many girls playing soccer still, and unfortunately girls drop out of sport a lot earlier and a lot at a higher rate than boys do. So we want to do our part to make sure that girls have access to high level, fun, engaging soccer training. And so we're happy to support that here at Forge FC. I'm so excited. We brought the girls out here for our first one ever, and I'm hoping this is something that continues years to come.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Overall, 10 out of 10. I congratulate Shannon and the rest of the community team for putting that one together because it just went so well. Moving on to Saturday's matchup, Cavalry is a team that have just really come into form over the latter half of this season. They've been leading the league for quite some time now, and looking at their record, they've got 11 wins, 6 draws, and 5 losses, giving them a total of 39 points in comparison to Forge FC's 35. Looking at their last 5 games, they've got 4 wins and just 1 loss. They are coming off a tightly contested matchup against Ottawa at TD Place. Both teams went into stoppage time with a goal. This would have been crazy. Selfishly, to make things just even closer, it would have been great if Ottawa won. But with just 10 seconds to go, William Accio would bury one for Cavalry and lift them 4 points ahead of the rest of the table, which, as we know, is just enough out of reach at this point in the season. So One other thing I wanted to include, 2 days ago, Charlie O'Connor-Clarke and Benedict Rhodes spoke on the CPL newsroom just about the way that Cavalry has been playing recently, and I think they did a really great job at summarizing it. So here's what they had to say.
Cavalry as a whole, for me, are playing some of the most entertaining and driven, I think, football that I've seen them play in the 5 years I've been watching this club. I mean, it's always been impressive to see their intensity at times. You go back to 2019 and they talked about 90 minutes of hell, where, at that point in the CPL, they were able to just press for the whole game and just run teams ragged, especially in Calgary, where the air is a tiny little bit thinner. You pulled a lot of energy out of teams, and they just beat them down late. And I guess that's partly what happened here, but there's some kind of extra spark this year, right, Benny? Like, Sergio Camargo talked after the game on One Soccer about doing things the Cavalry way, even though the tactics change and they grow and the players change and they're evolving. There's something about this club that is an identity. Just what's been impressing you about just seeing the way the team has been playing recently?
I think they're kind of embracing that villain arc, if you know what I mean. Like they're kind of not afraid to be the big bad Cavalry that they were of the past, and they're playing with an intensity and expectation that they think they can win a trophy or maybe even two. They've never won a trophy before. They've been hurt at the final hurdle on a few occasions, and I think they're just playing, with a mentality that this year they need to get it done. I remember I spoke to Dan Klomp recently, and he said, like, we have to win for Tommy Wheeldon Jr. Like he's someone who cares so much for his players. You have to win for him, and I think that team's really sort of embodying that. And you saw Tommy himself in this game, going like this to the crowd and shushing the crowd, and it was just incredible to see, and they're really kind of embracing that.
So it'll be interesting to see how this one unfolds. Forge having another opportunity to close the gap and make it a 1-point lead for Cavalry. If you recall, the last time these two teams met up, Forge came away with a loss and Cavalry with a 3-0 victory. So not the outcome that Forge were looking for, but in talking to Bobby yesterday during Behind the Beard, he reassured me that it wasn't necessarily a matter of changing anything about the way they approached the match, rather knowing what's at stake, getting the win, focusing on the result, because the reality of the situation is there are two things at play, one being a playoff spot, and of course, moving up in the standings. So on that note, we will wrap it up. Come on out to Tim Hortons Field this Saturday. It's Bobby's 150th match as head coach with Forge FC. And in celebration, we are distributing 2,000 foam beards to the first 2,000 fans who enter the building. And if you don't have a visual, it's essentially this orange foam beard that is a replica of Bobby's. If you want to see it for yourself, watch Behind the Beard, because I surprised him with it yesterday, and it's pretty accurate. So we got the nod of approval from Bobby. Yeah, you can't miss it. So get here nice and early. You can enter at whatever gate you normally go through, and one will be waiting for you if you're one of the first 2,000 fans.
This has been Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share.
But I think that you guys could probably take them. What do you think?
Yeah. Yes, go.
So are we down to play little girls versus boys?
Yeah.
All of you? Yeah, there's more girls than boys because they didn't come prepared. I brought all of you guys to the girls team and they only brought this many boys. So they got to play against all of you. Girls on this side, boys on this side.
I'll talk to you after.